Reddit's "Am I the A-hole" isn't a forum. It's a courtroom. People go there not for advice, but for judgment. They present their case, lay out the evidence, and await the verdict of a jury of strangers. Today, I am the one on trial. The crime, as you already know, was the dress. My mother-in-law, a woman who had never shown me anything but a cold porcelain smile, arrived at my wedding dressed as a bride. But this story isn't about what she did. It's about what I did next. I am here to ask for your judgment, because in every story of a monster, there's a moment where the victim has to decide if they will become a monster too. I made my choice, and now I need you to tell me. Was I wrong? My mother-in-law, let's call her Eleanor, is a character straight from a Stephen King novel, a pillar of her small community. Perfect garden, perfect house, perfect smile. But beneath the surface, there's a rot, a deep, possessive darkness, especially when it came to her son, my husband, Michael. Throughout our engagement, she wasn't a bridezilla. She was a saboteur, a ghost in the machine of our wedding plans. Every decision I made was met with her quiet, undermining disapproval. That catering choice is bold, she'd say. I hope your guests are adventurous. Lace for your dress? A very traditional choice. Almost dated. It was 1,000 tiny paper cuts, a psychological war of attrition. She wasn't trying to help. She was trying to claim ownership, to remind me that while I was marrying her son, I was just a temporary guest in her family, her legacy. The moment I should have known, the moment the final piece of the puzzle clicked into place in retrospect, was during the dress shopping. I had invited her out of obligation. I found my dream dress. It was simple, elegant, perfect. As I was in the changing room, I heard her talking to the sales assistant. Her voice was light, playful. "You know," she said, "just for fun, could I see that ivory gown in the window?" In a size 6. I came out and saw her, Eleanor, standing in front of the mirror in a floor-length off-white gown with intricate lace sleeves. It wasn't a bridesmaid dress. It was, for all intents and purposes, a wedding dress. She laughed it off. "Oh, don't be silly." She chuckled when she saw my face. "I'm just playing pretend." An old woman reliving her youth. The day of the wedding. The sky was a brilliant, cloudless blue. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. The ceremony was beautiful. Michael and I said our vows. The knot of anxiety in my stomach finally began to loosen. We walked into the reception hall to the sound of applause, and that's when I saw her, standing near the head table, greeting guests as if she were the host. Eleanor, she was wearing it. Not the exact same dress from the shop, but its sister, a creamy white floor-length lace gown. It was modest, elegant, and completely devastatingly inappropriate. It was a statement, an act of narcissistic warfare so profound that the air in the room grew thin. Guests were staring, whispering. She had made herself the main character. Michael saw her and froze. He looked at me, his face a mask of horror and apology. And as Eleanor turned to smile at me, a triumphant, glittering smile, I knew I had a choice. I walked towards her. I smiled my sweetest smile. My maid of honor saw the look in my eye and tried to stop me, but I brushed past her. In my hand, I was holding my glass of congratulatory red wine, a deep, blood-red Merlot. "Eleanor," I said, my voice as calm as a frozen lake, "you look absolutely stunning. I'm so glad you dressed for the occasion." And as I leaned in to give her a hug, my hand slipped. The entire glass of red wine cascaded down the front of her pristine, white lace dress. It was a disaster, a beautiful, irreversible crimson stain. I pulled back, my hand flying to my mouth in mock horror. "Oh my God," I gasped. "I am so clumsy. It must be the nerves." Eleanor's face, for the first time since I'd known her, was a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. The porcelain had cracked. She was speechless. I leaned in close, so only she could hear, and I whispered, "Don't worry. Now your dress finally matches your intentions." The fallout was complicated. My husband, though horrified by his mother, thought I escalated the situation into melodrama. Half his family isn't speaking to me. My family thinks I'm a hero. I stand by what I did. You don't defeat a bully by playing by their rules. You have to create a consequence they can't escape. So, here is the case. Exhibit A, a mother-in-law who committed the ultimate act of passive aggression. Exhibit B, a bride who refused to be a victim and chose a public, humiliating act of retaliation. The question isn't whether Eleanor was the a-hole. We know she was. The question is about me. Did I sink to her level? Or did I simply hand her the justice she deserved? Be the jury. Render your verdict in the comments. Write NTA, not the a-hole, if you believe my actions were justified. Write ITA, you're the a-hole, if you think I went too far. I'm ready to hear your judgment.